how you doing? I'm Louie Gamino with Enviroscape LA. We're here at another project of ours in Southern California, and we're doing a native garden with a lot of natives or near natives, meaning they thrive in our warm climate here in the South Bay. Now, as we install the garden, what type of irrigation we're installing, most people want to know that because they know we're a big user of the Rainbird drip irrigation. We really want to be as efficient as possible with drip irrigation, with our irrigating our plants. So to be 100% efficient, we like to use a Rainbird drip irrigation where 100% of what's coming out of the tap is being applied directly to the root zone. Previously, they'd throw it up in the air and you kind of direct as best as possible where that water lands. It would no doubt equate to water waste. Water getting on the concrete, on the windows, on the car, and just losing a ton of it to evaporation. So if we take a look at our install here, there's several vital components to doing drip irrigation, a successful drip irrigation install. If you notice these rows of drip irrigation here, they're about 12 inches apart. Now that's kind of the sweet spot when you're using the 0.6 gallon per hour with 12-inch spacing drip emitter, which is what we use here. Water not only moves vertically throughout the soil profile, but also laterally, and that's due to capillary action throughout the soil profile of water moving laterally through the soil profile as stated. Now, one thing we do want to look at, you always want to install this little component right here. That's called the air relief valve. What that does, it allows air to go ahead and enter the line when the system is not operational. It helps prevent a quick back siphoning of debris or dirt into the line every time it starts up. So that is a very crucial part to having a successful, long-lasting drip irrigation install. Another component, if you take a look here, you notice these little guys here folded over. That is called a figure 8 cleanout. Now that is installed at the end of the line. That allows for a point where you go ahead and flush out any debris, sediment that gets in the line. That should be flushed out roughly once a year or after any time you do a pipe repair. Perhaps if you were gardening, you cut the line, some drip debris got in there. So those are two vital components. And again, when you're doing drip irrigation, if you notice here, we also have this guy here. That's a point of connection. And if you notice here, there's another figure 8. So in this particular zone, or valve that turns on, there's approximately maybe 800 square feet, maybe 600 to 800 square feet. Gets a little bit narrow and kind of curves there. In a situation like that, you have to have several point of connections so that you will have adequate water pressure and adequate even distribution. So you notice those two figure 8s, those equate to two different point of connections, but it's turning on with the same valve. So those two figure 8s will also include two different air relief valves. So these are vital components when you're doing a drip irrigation if you want it to last. So it's very, very important. A little bit of algebra involved with how much linear feet of drip tubing you could use depending on the 0.6 gallons per hour or 0.9. Again, it gets a little bit technical, but just make sure you do it right the first time because paying to do it twice is really expensive. If you take a look just at the plant palette here, we have a lot of natives and near natives. We have the verbena here. We have a salvia in the background there. There's some yarrow. Then we're looking at, for instance, our Caliander californica there as well. Those are a native there. Hummingbirds love it. We have a cigar plant in the back there. And if you notice in the back, they're installing a thick layer of mini bark to cover over that drip tubing. So that mulch has several functions. One, it helps keep moisture in the soil, prevents evaporation so quickly, helps prevent weed seeds from germinating, which is another bonus. And then on top of everything else, it's always breaking down, creating living soil. It's helping create that mycorrhizal fungi throughout the soil profile there. And then of course it just looks good on top of everything else. So of course, whenever you start to see the drip tubing, meaning that organic compost is successfully composted, broken down, then it's time to replenish it. So that could be done on average, once a year, maybe even sooner than that. But that's just another tip, and this is just another job from Enviroscape LA, another drip irrigation job using the Rainbird Copper Shield drip technology. So when you think sustainability, think Enviroscape LA.